Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube NFL prediction segment. I'm going to be giving you my 2019 Week 13 NFL picks and analysis. Now, first game, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions at home over the Chicago Bears. Right now, Detroit may be a little bit ravaged with some injuries, but I think they're due to win one with their new quarterback, a wide receiver Marvin Jones. Obviously, going to have to step up in this game. Now, Chicago is not exactly, a world beater. Quarterback Mitch Trubisky has struggled this season, and they barely won that game last week against the Giants, and that was at Chicago. The last game Chicago played with Detroit was actually very competitive, and that was at Chicago. I think Detroit can return the favor, so I'm going to take Detroit in this one at home. Now, the next game, well, not all is great in Dallas right now. There seems to be a little turmoil going on there, and Jason Garrett's job's obviously his situation is precarious to say the least right now. But Dallas, despite not really playing stupendously last week, they are number one in total offense. They're number one in passing offense, but they're 0-4 against teams that are over 500 that entered a game against them over 500. Buffalo is over 500. It could bode well for Buffalo, but being that this is going to be Thanksgiving Day nationally televised game, I do like Dallas in this one. Buffalo has been one of the more consistent teams dating back to last season. They're 12-6 in their last 18 games. They're only allowing about 16 points per game, and they are 4-1 on the road. So this game will likely be very competitive. Buffalo's defense will keep them in the game, but I do believe Dallas will take this one at home. I think their offense is going to be a little bit better than the Bills' defense in this one. So I'm going to take Dallas at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Saints on the road to defeat the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Saints were pummeled earlier this season at New Orleans by Atlanta. They're going to be seeking retribution in this game. Wide receiver Michael Thomas and their running game, I think it's going to be a little bit better than Atlanta's offense. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, with Atlanta, you do have lethal weapons with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. You always have a chance to win that game. But Atlanta's a really enigmatic team. They're starting to become one of those teams that could win games you think you think they should lose, and vice versa. But in this particular game, I mean, New Orleans, they want to stay close to San Francisco for the top spot in the NFC. New Orleans, I mean, they know they did not play to their potential in that earlier loss to Atlanta. I think they're going to get revenge in this one. I like the Saints to win on the road. Now, the next game, I want to talk about the resurgent New York Jets. Yes, the resurgent New York Jets, who have won 3 consecutive games. It's unfathomable, but they have done it. They have scored 34 points, 3 consecutive games, and being on a 3-game winning streak is unbelievable. You talk about even their safety, Jamal Adams, is very good. They are a team right now that is really, they're very much in sync on the offensive end, and really in the defense played sensational against the Raiders last week. Now, you look at Cincinnati, they're just, I mean, the team is abhorrent. They've lost 13 consecutive games dating back to last season. They're only averaging about 14 points per game, and they're dead last in their run defense and rushing yards allowed per game, and they can't even run the ball, number 28 in the league. And as far as their run defense goes. So you look at the Jets right now, they are clicking on all cylinders. They're definitely, I mean, this is a team now, I feel confident when they're playing against anybody really that's below average. They should be able to beat them at the way they're playing right now. So I'm going to take the Jets to win on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Colts at home to defeat the Tennessee Titans. The Colts have dominated the series in recent time, winning 14 of 16 against Tennessee. They're 4-2 at home this season. And you look at the Titans right now, they have found a way. I think they formulated a way to win games now by running the ball more frequently. Running back Derrick Henry has been phenomenal. The last 2 games, the Titans have amassed 444 rushing yards, winning those 2 games. and the Titans have won 4 of 5. They've been on a little bit of a roll. The only loss they had was to Carolina during that time. That was by 10 points on the road. But Indianapolis has had their way with Tennessee at home. I think Indianapolis is going to be able to run the ball effectively in this game. I think it's going to make the difference. And I think that the run defense for Indy will likely contain the Titans' running game and be enough to win the game. So I'm going to take the Colts to win this one at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Eagles on the road to defeat the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Eagles have not exactly been playing lights out, but they're still better than Miami. Philadelphia's pass rush is decent. The offensive line for Miami is abysmal right now, to say the least. And Philadelphia, I think it's going to be a lot of this game is going to be dependent on the pass rush of Philadelphia against the offensive line of Miami. Philadelphia does have 31 defensive sacks. Miami right now, they've been sacked 46 times this season. They've lost 12 of 14 dating back to last season. Philadelphia, I mean, they're going to go in with some desperation, some urgency. Philadelphia probably needs to win out to have a chance to make the postseason. So I'm going to take the Eagles on the road. Next game, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers on the road to defeat the New York Giants. Now, Green Bay has not exactly been played sensationally. Their last 2 road games, they've been outscored like 63-19 or something. They've allowed 63 points in those 2 road games. Last one being dismantled by the 49ers. And they're a team right now, though. They're still a much better team than the New York Giants. Giants have lost 7 consecutive games. They're minus 11 in the turnover differential, and they're just 1-4 at home this season. And they're they're at the bottom tier in passing yards allowed per game. And Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers will still, I think, produce enough passing yards, have enough sustained drives to win this game. So I'm going to take Green Bay to win this one on the road. Next game, I want to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win at home over the Cleveland Browns. Now, Pittsburgh has won 5 of 6 games. 5 of their last 6 games, they have turned their season around. They are the resurgent Pittsburgh Steelers. But the thing about this, too, is you look at Cleveland, they have played very well as well. They're the resurgent Browns. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, the Browns have lost 13 consecutive games at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has had their number in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh also has 28 takeaways. They're perennially a very good defense. I know they lost to Cleveland earlier this season, but looking at, Cleveland has lost one of their dominant defensive players. I think it's going to make a difference in this game. Running back Nick Chubb, they'll run the ball at least fairly effectively. They'll keep this game close, but I still like Pittsburgh to get this done at home in this particular contest. I mean, this is the revenge game for Pittsburgh. I don't think they want to be swept by Cleveland this year, so I'm going to take the Steelers at home. Well, the next game, I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers at home to defeat the Washington Redskins. Now, Carolina has lost 3 consecutive games right now. They are reeling, but Washington has been reeling for a pretty good time. Since last season, they've lost like 11 of their 13 games. They're dead last in passing yards per game, and 1-4 on the road. Now, I understand they have some swagger because they ended a 9-game home losing streak, but now they're on the road against the Carolina team that did play very well against New Orleans. They did everything but defeat New Orleans at New Orleans last week. Carolina is still very competitive, even if they're not, they may not be a playoff team really, but looking at them, they're just 2-3 at home, but I think they're going to be 3-3 at home after this game. I think Carolina's going to take this one. I think it's going to be a little bit too much offense, and I don't think Washington can match up with them that way, so I'm going to take the Panthers to win at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one at home. Tampa Bay, right now, they're just an offensive juggernaut. I know they're not one of the better teams in the league, but they have 2 lethal weapons on offense with Godwin and Evans. They both have amassed over 1,000 yards receiving right now. They're a dual threat. It's going to be very hard for Jacksonville to combat that defensively. Their secondary, losing Jalen Ramsey. The team has given up 75 points in their last 2 games. They gave up 219 rushing yards to the Titans last week. And Tampa Bay doesn't really even need to run the ball effectively against Jacksonville. They have their usual passing day. It should be enough to get this win because I just don't think Jacksonville's secondary is going to be that good. They may be number 10, like 10 in the league in passing yards allowed, but the Tampa Bay offense is just too stellar. They're going to be at home, so I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win this one at home. Now the next game, well, the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to take them at home to defeat the 49ers. There's not enough superlatives to say about Baltimore right now. They had the ravenous defense was in effect last week, only giving up 6 points to the defending NFC champion Los Angeles Rams. Now Baltimore right now 4-1 at home this season. 20 and the thing that's unheralded about Baltimore, I understand they have this stupendous quarterback with Lamar Jackson. He's been playing very well, but I mean, lights out last week. I mean, he had one of the best Monday night performances ever by a quarterback. But you look at the field goal unit the kicking game has been good for Baltimore. They're 20 of 21 in field goals made, and this is a team that can score it well. Now they're going up against a 49er team that really has played very well on the defensive end, and they're a flawless 5-0 on the road 2019. Now the thing about this too is you look at San Francisco, number one in terms of their pass defense right now. So it's going to make it, and their defense has been really superb this season. So it's going to be a very tight game. I think Bosa can make things a little bit difficult for Lamar Jackson, but I think Baltimore's offense is just going to be too good, and I don't know if San Francisco is going to have an answer for Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to take the Ravens at home. Well, next game, I'm going to take the Rams on the road to defeat the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams right now, they have to go in with some urgency. The Arizona Cardinals have been competitive, and based on what I describe as competitive, or I perceive as competitive, they've been competitive in 8 of their 11 games this season, and they've lost 4 consecutive games. They are reeling, just 1-3-1 at home this season. The Rams will get their passing game a little bit more effective than they did in the previous game. Arizona is dead last in pass defense, which bodes well for the Rams. The Rams right now, they are going to, you look at this team, and I think when you look at the Rams and their offense with Cooper Kupp, and I think it's going to make the difference. I don't know if Arizona can counter on the defensive end. Arizona with their quarterback, I think they'll make this game close being at home. The fact that Arizona does play with some swagger, they don't seem to lay down for anybody. So, but I'm going to take the Rams to win in a close one on the road. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Chargers to win on the road against Denver. Now the Chargers right now, this is like almost everything but a toilet bowl game. Neither one of these teams are playing well. Neither one, I don't think, is going to make the playoffs. But the Chargers right now just have a little bit better offense than Denver. Chargers are averaging about 20 points per game. Denver about 16 points per game. Denver has lost 4 of 5, and Denver is dead last in passing touchdowns in the NFL with 9. And I'm going to take the Chargers mainly because just their offense is a little bit better with Phillip Rivers, and I think they're going to get this done. It's going to be a tight one on the road. Remember, the Chargers lost a tight game to Kansas City. So I think they should be able to beat the Denver Broncos, but who really knows in this unpredictable NFL world? But I'm going to take the Chargers to win this one on the road. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, well, the next game, speaking of the Chiefs, I'm going to take the Chiefs to win at home over the Oakland Raiders. Now, the Chiefs have dominated the series against Oakland in recent time, winning 9 of 10 against them. We have quarterback Patrick Mahomes, and you're talking about Travis Kelce on the offensive end. Oakland may not have an answer for them. Now, Oakland's pass rush has improved. They have sacked the quarterbacks 26 times this season, but they are abhorrent 1-4 on the road this season, and they were dismantled by the Jets last season. Now they got to go on the road again to play a Kansas City Chiefs team that just is loaded on the offensive end. It's just going to be very hard for me to see Oakland really bouncing back after that demoralizing loss to the Jets. They'll make it competitive in this game, given it's a divisional game, I believe, maybe somewhat competitive. But the Chiefs being at home, Chiefs just 2-3 at home this year. They're due to win another one at home soon. So I think they're going to win this one at home. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win this one at home. Well, the next game, I'll take the New England Patriots on the road to defeat the Houston Texans. Now, this game right now, I mean, New England has not looked well, and as far as their offense in recent weeks, their defense has really bailed them out big time. The Patriots have averaged just 15 points per game in the last 2 games, but they do have 37 defensive sacks in their defense. They have they're in the tops in terms of defensive interceptions, and they are 5-1 on the road, and their scoring defense is number 1. Now Houston is 4-1 at home, and they've allowed 33 sacks. Without J.J. Watt, it could make a difference in this game. I believe in New England's defense, I believe, will be the difference in this game. So I'm going to take the Patriots to win on the road. Now, last but not least, this has the makings of a stellar game. I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to win in a tight one at home against the Minnesota Vikings. Seattle right now 3-2 at home. I don't know if they're going to be without Clowney or not. That could impact this game. But the Seattle and Minnesota are very close in a number of these categories. They're both averaging about the same amount of points. Seattle's averaging 26.5 per game. Minnesota 26.3 points per game. But the Minnesota defense is actually better. Their scoring defense is better than Seattle's. Their running games are very good. It's just the X factor, I think, is going to be Russell Wilson and his legs toward the end of the game. This could come down to the final possession, final drive, and I could see Seattle winning this game in the end. But Minnesota, wouldn't be shocked if they were to pull this out somehow, because Minnesota is definitely a very good team right now, and they are a team right now that obviously can be competitive with anybody in the NFL, because they are playing lights out at this time, and they're definitely. Right now, you look at Kirk Cousins, his play has improved. He doesn't seem to have the propensity to turn the ball over as much. It's just the fact he's a little bit of a pocket passer, and Russell Wilson has the legs to scramble around and to run the ball a little more effectively. And I think that likely will be the difference in this game. But everything, a lot of the other categories, they're just very similar. These teams, very comparable, and it's going to be a very tight contest. This likely could be the best matchup of the week, maybe second to the Baltimore San Francisco game. So anyway, I'm going to take Seattle to get this done at home. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.